Hello, this is Carlene, and it's a beautiful Wednesday, sunny Wednesday day in Arizona, and I'm in the kitchen cooking. And so I decided to share what I'm doing in 10 minutes or less. So let's begin. Today I'm going to be cooking with a leek, an L-E-E-K. I cut half of it here. I cut it in half so we could talk about it, and I'm going to be cooking with mushrooms. But before I do that, I just want to back up a little bit and just share from my heart and tell you why I'm doing this. Why do I bother with a leek or mushrooms if I'm not crazy about them, though I am? It's because of having had cancer 3 years ago. And I'm on a journey to feed my body and feed my cells as best I can. And as a Christian, I'm not saying that I'm not praying and depending on God and asking for my daily bread. I am, absolutely. But God created this food, and I make a decision on what food I eat. And so that's where I'm at. And I'm just sharing that maybe I can help another person along the journey. And the reason about the leek is that there is this book by Nasha Winters called The Metabolic Approach to Cancer, just chock full of information, and I've been reading it now for months. But she talks about 5 or 6 superfoods that you should be eating a lot, and I actually wrote them in the cover of the book, and one of them is a leek. The other is an artichoke, cabbage, garlic, radishes, asparagus, and a few others. But she says that they're superfoods. And so, wow, food that are super good for us? Yeah. So that's the reason that I'm even bothering with a leek. A leek is a superfood that's kind of like celery. You pay for it by the pound, and it seems like a waste to me because you're paying for all this dark green that I just cut off. I've yet to figure out how to eat it. So I basically take this much and I just chop it up like you would expect. Let me just move the mushrooms here and just pull this forward. And here is half a leek. It's kind of thick, and I'd probably cut it in half again. But superfood, you can eat it raw. I just find it very difficult to eat a raw leek. I don't know about that. So I cook it. A leek is a combination of an onion and celery. It kind of looks like celery. It kind of smells like celery. But more than anything, it tastes like an onion that's not very strong. So, but the whole point is, it's a superfood. So I took my leek and I have it in a pan over here that I'll show you in just a moment. And the other food that, if you are reading nutrition and surviving cancer and what to eat, you would read about mushrooms. They come up all the time. And so I have 3 different kinds of mushrooms here. Your basic white button mushroom. And your second one, cremini. I think this is a brown mushroom or a cremini. If you were to buy a great big mushroom, I believe that's just a larger version of this. So this one is a little stronger. I like the combination of 2, and I use them in so many different foods. And the third mushroom that I always have in my home is called porcini. This is a dried mushroom. And so you have to rehydrate it by simply putting it in a cup of water and microwaving it and letting it sit. And it picks up, all the hydration the dried mushroom does, and creates a really strong, flavorful mushroom. These 3 go together so well. A white button, a brown cremini, and a brown porcini. And I want to show you what I've done. I'm just going to move all these superfoods over here. And I'm going to add this to my mix, and I'll just bring this over here. And this is what I'm doing today in my kitchen, because I woke up thinking, what am I going to eat? How can I get some superfoods in me? So I decided to use a leek and mushrooms and onions, and I just sauteed it, just like that. And I did this for probably 15 minutes. So I like to do, I don't like the onions to burn, and they really didn't caramelize that much, but a little bit. And this is such an easy sauce, but I'm gonna just finish it up right here and then move it back to my stove. After I do that, I simply add broth, some sort of broth. And I put it back on the stove and I let it cook. Now I want some more probably, but see that? You add broth and you cook it. And then if you've added too much broth, you may need to add a little water and cornstarch, but I'm going to make sure that I don't need to thicken it today. I'm going to add a little of this kettle and fire. Wonderful broth. I know I talk about it a lot. I always have broth in. You can see it's a lot clearer than the other one I had. And I'm going to put this back on the stove and just let it cook for about 15 minutes. And it's basically done. It's just a sauce. I'll probably add a tablespoon of cream to make it whitish, not very much. But why am I doing this? Because I wanted to get those superfoods into me. I didn't know what else to do. So I made a broth. I have meat in the oven. And so when the meat is done, I'll take it out, I'll slice it, put it on a plate, and put some of this cream sauce on top of that beef. So that's my meal for today. That's my nutrition, part of the nutrition that I'm going to give to myself today. A little bit of information about, most importantly, a leek and mushrooms. I hope you have a wonderful day and that your food is blessed. Bye-bye.